Yo, what's happening everybody, and welcome back to a brand new H1Z1 video. Today, EG7 published the long-awaited H1Z1 community update video, and in this video they basically explained everything that's been going on with H1Z1, and also Just Survive. In this video they explained that they've got running versions of H1Z1 Preseason 3, and they've also got Just Survive running on a local build. In this video I'm going to play some clips from Robin Flodin, who is a shareholder and CEO of EG7. I just want to say that after watching this video, I've got an absolute ton of respect for Robin. He seems to be extremely passionate about gaming. He's talking about games that he's played, and you know, he put 1,000 hours into this game and he used to love playing this game, and you can tell from watching this video that he really cares about Daybreak and the H1Z1 community as well. I will say that in this video, you're probably not going to get the news that you were hoping for, but there's a lot of positives to take from this, and I encourage you guys just to try to stay patient and just pay attention to what Robin is saying here, and what's going to happen in the future of H1Z1 and Just Survive. Before we get into everything, Robin has basically said that they have had a lot of feedback from the community, and that they're looking for members in the community to kind of help guide them in certain aspects of the direction of H1Z1 and where that should be pushed towards. For all of you guys who've been here for a long time, as you guys know, I've been making content on H1Z1 PC for the last 4 years, obviously making videos about updates and talking about ideas, and obviously uploading a lot of H1Z1 gameplay. I also done the same thing for PlayStation 4, where I created update videos, a lot of gameplay, and obviously I've discussed a lot of things with you guys in the community. I feel like after 4 years of playing and talking to everybody about H1Z1, I don't think there's too many people who understand the H1Z1 community better than I do. If you guys would like me to become a community member that works with EG7, please go and check out my tweet and go and like it, retweet it, and let EG7 know that you would like me to work with them. Or if you guys don't want me to work with them, that's absolutely fine as well. If that's something that you guys would like to see happen, there will be a link in the description down below. Of course, with the future of H1Z1, this is going to be a community-driven effort. If you guys would like me to take part in that, I would be privileged to do so. Without any further ado, let's have a look at what Robin had to say, and we'll break down all of the information later on in the video.
And I'm gonna bring up a specific example that I know that everyone who's watching this video really wants to get to. It's H1Z1. What's going on with H1Z1? Right? The truth of H1Z1 is that there is no team working on the game. You know, it was almost sunset. And now it's been massive explosion around it because we said a few words around the fact that we have a team working on the code base. And I want to clarify that statement. What do we mean with working on the code base? So this is actually the EG7 team. The EG7 team, our technical guys, they've been evaluating the code base and looking into community and trying to figure out, because of course there was no team there, so the knowledge around the code base was very sparse. So it took a lot of the early year just putting everything in order, and now I can tell you we have running builds of Just Survive and early builds of the game and so on. You know, we have those things working, but from there, that's not the end answer to things. What we realized in taking that step, when we did this research, we talked to the community, was okay, you know, a lot of people are saying they want Preseason 3. Some people don't want that. They want the new version of the game. You know, that version had a ton of bugs that are now fixed, but there were also changes that people didn't like. Some people, the most important thing to them is that we relaunched Just Survive.
I think this is a really good place to start the discussion. So Robin said here that they've obviously been doing archaeology. They've been looking into the code base of H1Z1, and because of that, there's been a lot of hype created around the game. They basically said a few words, and the game reached up to 7,500 players. It started to get some good influencers like Gotaga, for instance, started hopping onto the game, and obviously that helped the player growth. They currently have running builds of an old version of H1Z1 and Just Survive, but they are conscious of the fact that some members of the community do not want this, and they are concerned about the amount of bugs that are in Preseason 3 and some of the quality of life improvements and other things, which I can probably explain better, which would be things like hosted games, combat zone, things like GPS on the minimap, and a lot of other quality of life updates, which, you know, for the most part, a lot of which improved the game, some of which were at the detriment of the game. At the end of the day, guys, it's never as simple as it's either yes or no. There's always a grey area in between, and I think with a situation like this, there is definitely a contrast of opinion in the H1Z1 community. As much as I'm very passionate about bringing back the old version of H1Z1 King of the Kill, I respect the people who are in the community keeping this game alive, people who play hosted games. I'm going to just mention like Dano's community. Those guys are running tournaments, keeping themselves entertained, keeping some life in the game. I think with running hosted games and closed community events, it doesn't necessarily help the overall growth of the game, but I think it definitely helps sustain a player base and sustain that interest from people who are interested in that competitive side of the game, and I think it's overall a positive. I can understand why these guys don't want the game to go back to pre-season free because, you know, they talked about bugs and other things like that. I think something that's very important to consider is, if you look at one of the biggest Battle Royale games that is currently out right now, Warzone has been a huge success. Obviously it would be unrealistic to say that H1Z1 can reach the heights of Warzone. It's definitely worth keeping in mind that Warzone has had a lot of bugs. Warzone has been out for over a year and has had an absolute ton of bugs. Very, very game-breaking bugs, more so than even H1Z1 in pre-season free. People can go invisible, people can use infinite stim shots in the gas and just win games automatically by staying in the gas. People are glitching into objects and stuff on the map. It's very, very bad, and it's kind of like some of the things that cheaters do in H1Z1, except it's just bugs in the game. However, in Warzone, that's not enough of a detriment to stop people from actually playing it, and I personally think it's going to be the same thing with pre-season free. I think what a lot of people have to realise is that back whenever H1Z1 was at its most popular, there's a huge audience for this game. This is before Battle Royale actually started blowing up. If you try to think about everything that's came since Fortnite came out, PUBG came out, the Battle Royale community exploded and there was so much hype around Battle Royale games, and with H1Z1 not getting advertising and not getting good updates, and in fact, you know, over time the game becoming worse, streamers quit the game. A lot of people quit the game, a lot of people stopped streaming it, and moved on to these other games which were in a much better state after H1Z1 had made a series of bad updates. It's my personal opinion that we all love H1Z1 deeply. It doesn't really matter if you want pre-season free, or it doesn't really matter if you want Z1 Battle Royale. At the end of the day, we all love H1Z1, but I think the thing that is best for H1Z1 is to go back to pre-season free and work on fixing those bugs. The best possible solution would be to release pre-season free separately, or even put it on a test server for people to test out. You don't have to completely get rid of things like hosted games on Z1 Battle Royale. I think it is possible just to release things separately, especially if they have a working build of Just Survive and pre-season free. I think if those two things were combined into one game, that is the absolute biggest chance of success for H1Z1 possible. And there's so many streamers and so many big influencers from FaZe Clan, Optic Gaming, 100 Thieves, some of the biggest influencers out there. Even Ninja back all those years ago said, if there's anybody still working at Daybreak, go back to pre-season free. I think it's pretty clear to almost everybody that that would be the best solution moving forward, but I have to respect EG7 for taking into consideration the feelings of the people who are playing the game now. I think the scope of H1Z1 is so much bigger than Z1 Battle Royale, and I don't think a lot of people are really interested in this game getting updates. However, I think it would make a huge impact if H1Z1 fully went back to pre-season free, with some bug fixes if possible on release. And of course guys, keep in mind that Daybreak with a small team fixed almost all of the bugs in H1Z1 in the course of 6 months. Pre-season free was February 2017, the combat update came out in August 2017. Within 6 months, H1Z1 was almost bug-free. And like I said guys, keep in mind that Warzone, which has been out for over a year, still has extremely game-breaking bugs, but people still play that game because they enjoy it and it's a fun game for them. So it's going to be the exact same thing with pre-season free, and it's why people continue to play pre-season free and stop playing H1Z1 after the combat update. They simply enjoyed the game a lot more. Whenever Nanji took over H1Z1 and said that they were going back to pre-season free, that's what got players back in the game again. The pre-season free style update, where they brought some aspects of pre-season free back, is what got the game back up to 12.7k again. The OG devs of this game talked so much about how they wish they fought harder against the combat update, and that they wish they kept the game like old H1Z1. These are the guys who literally made this game, and they realised that pre-season free and going back to that era was the best way to move forward with this. Like, Arc Lager is literally the guy who made this game, and like he said himself that he wishes that they'd never done any of this stuff. I think that says a lot, man, but the game is still incomplete, and the game did start to decline pretty rapidly afterwards. EG7 tweeted that they're looking at bringing back pre-season free, and we've got 7.5k players again. Before all of these things were happening, the game was peaking at 400 players. It is so clear to me that this is what people want. I know deep down in my heart, man, that the people who still love H1Z1, who still play it now, and want Z1 Battle Royale, I know that they can enjoy pre-season free, and I know that they'll still continue to play it. So I really just think it is the best thing for everybody. To get the game into a state where most people want to play it, it's really what's going to be the best for the overall growth of this game. Z1 Battle Royale over the last 2 years has had huge player spikes, and both times, the player base has reduced to almost nothing again. People want to play pre-season free, not Z1 Battle Royale, and if it was the case where Z1 Battle Royale could be successful and could get a ton of players, I would be super happy, man. But I just personally don't think that's the case. Just for the sake of fairness, I have to mention that a lot of people do quit this game because of cheating and stuff like that. So I think that's definitely worth keeping in mind. But I genuinely think that overall it is not the only reason that people do quit this game every time. Anyway, I've spoke quite a lot about that. Let's move on to the next part of the video.
So where we are right now is that we've taken the time, we've looked through everything, we've seen where we are, we have understood the code base, which took a lot longer than people would imagine, as there weren't a lot of people who could give us the information. So we sort of had to do archaeology with our technical team, which is a very competent technical team. And what we've come up with is now the fact that, you know, we've taken that step. Now the future of H1Z1, we're not going to tell you that it's launching tomorrow, because, and I'm sorry for that, it's not going to be that close. And I actually want to say to everyone who's playing it today, you're not going to see updates very short in time, you know, next month or 2 months from now into the game. And I think that's important. I know a lot of people are very much asking us for this, but it's not possible. There's no team there. It takes time to find a team. It takes time to re-engage them, and it also takes now time with all this information that we've gotten to make the right decision for the community. Because I think that in the past it has already been done before, where another team took over, it didn't work out, people were very frustrated, and I don't think anyone wants that. So what I'm saying here is trying to be very straight with everyone. You know, what are we thinking? Yes, we want to do more with H1Z1 in some form. What is that more? You know, is that giving players access to the servers so that they can play this version and we'll do a new version? Is that we update these versions significantly so that they're not that buggy and broken, both with maybe Just Survive and Preseason 3 with the new updates or something like that? That we don't know yet. That we are in that phase of that making those choices and going down that road. But what we do want to know is from the community still, what are your preferences here? Because it's not very easy for us. You know, we have all these pieces together and we're now moving in that direction. And this is special. And the reason why H1Z1 is a bit special, and I'm gonna transition to that now, is that because there is no team. So in this case, we are going to have to move it somewhere, right? And here is an example where EG7 steps in as an owner. We say, here's this brand that people love, with a game that people love, that we of course want to be treated well, but there's no one there steering it or doing it, or, you know, being in charge of it. Then we will try to find someone who can take that torch, and then we will leave the situation, and then you'll have to go to that developer or that plays the community to talk to them. So I think that's very important to understand. With H1Z1, we will come out and do a more final announcement. And I know that this might, you know, a lot of people are still, oh, you've been going on for 4 months now, come on, like, you know, what's going on? And they feel that this maybe is not the update that we're looking for, but this is the truth, right? And I think that that's very important. This is what's going on. And I much rather tell you what's going on than sit here and make just a story that I think a lot of companies do to gamers. I am hoping that you're taking this information in the way that I'm giving it to you and being responsible and understanding that we're trying to do this for the best of the game. Now, that we are trying to put this game forward in some way because we believe in the franchise and IP. But we aren't able to tell you exactly what's going to happen.
So he basically spoke about kind of the direct situation that they've got with Daybreak and the fact that they don't have developers. He did mention that they were very close to sunsetting H1Z1 and it was looking very bleak. The teams have been moved on. Of course, as we know in the H1Z1 community, the devs have moved on. They've started their own businesses. They're working for different companies. It is very difficult for them just to come in and just say, okay, let's just push this button here and make this update here. From speaking to the preseason free mod guys, you know, H1Z1 does run on very old code and uses a lot of dead programming language. So he said that he would have to kind of get people bedded into that and sort of create an understanding around the community of H1. It's definitely more of a light-handed approach instead of having a very heavy-handed approach and just going gung-ho with it. They seem to be very considerate of what they're trying to do moving forward and ultimately trying to make the right decision for H1Z1, whether that is to bring back preseason free and just survive, or whether it is just to like put all versions of these games up somewhere that people can play and then release a new version of these games in the future, which personally I would absolutely love that. You know, I can sort of understand if they don't want to bring back preseason free and just put it up on a different server and say, hey, you know, knock yourselves out, go play preseason free. I can sort of understand if they don't do that. As for Just Survive though, I think it would definitely be very good if they were able to bring that up and just allow people to play the version of the game that was there before the game closed, or even an earlier version than that before they obviously messed up crouching and everything in Just Survive. I think that would definitely go a long way. I think it would definitely keep the community engaged over the course of time that it's going to take them to put everything in place. The old versions of the games are not perfect, guys. Like, as much as I love those old versions, there was a lot of problems with them. But as I did say earlier, you know, despite all of the problems that those games had, those are the games that we loved, and that's what we basically ultimately want to go back to. For me, I look at H1Z1 Just Survive and Preseason 3 as kind of a building block to move forward with the H1Z1 IP. I don't think it's the be-all end-all. I think it's a huge step in the right direction. It's a jump, it's a marathon in the right direction. And if EG7 considered giving us access to those old versions of the game, as buggy as they may be, I can almost guarantee you that they would be instantly a lot more popular than Z1 Battle Royale. But obviously that is a decision that EG7 have to make. I think it would be great if they released a new version of H1Z1 with a new monetization model, really modernize a lot of the kind of stigma around H1Z1 with the skin trading, the monetization, battle passes, you know, adding new game modes, even things like revive systems, and really bringing H1Z1 up to date and in a competitive state in the Battle Royale market. I think that's definitely necessary and something that they should look forward to. I think it's been made pretty clear that they're still in the process and that nothing is going to happen in the very immediate future, maybe not even in the next couple of months. Personally, I would absolutely love it if Just Survive, you know, they just turned on the Just Survive servers and say, hey, knock yourselves out. You know, free up H1Z1 Preseason 3 on test server and said, hey, knock yourselves out. We're going to go work on this. You guys can mess around and play with that if you want. I would absolutely love it, man, but maybe that is an unrealistic expectation, and I wouldn't encourage any of you to get your hopes up for that, because I think that could be setting yourself up for disappointment. But personally, that's what I would love to see happen. Ultimately, guys, it's going to take some time. One thing that I'm very grateful for is that we have somebody like Robin Flodin here. You can just tell how passionate he is, and I absolutely love that. No matter what, guys, H1Z1 is in good hands, and I think we've seen over the last couple of years that even after the game having a very dormant player base for an extended period of time, 1 year after the game pretty much dying out, we suddenly just had a huge spike in players. There will always be that community for H1Z1. I think their horizon is much larger than the scope that we have now. I think once H1Z1 gets into a popular and marketable state, I think that it can reach an absolute ton of new players, and you know, ultimately that's what's going to be the best for H1Z1 in the future, and hopefully that's what EG7 hope to do. Finally, just to close out the video, guys, here's Robin's kind of closing remarks on the matter.
But one thing that we are looking at is finding voices in the community that we could talk to get an even better understanding. So that's something that we are looking for, and that we are going to reach out to the community, asking specifically who are the strongest voices that you believe should have a say in the future of H1Z. So we've talked a lot about exactly how this communication thing is going. Now we've done a few Twitter things, especially around H1Z1, as that has sort of been a difficult position for us because there are no team, but we really want people to feel that their communication. I think that what you're going to see from us is maybe once every 6 months we will address the community from a corporate level. And then we will gather in all the questions that everyone has and sort of address them on camera like we've done today. But at the end of the day, the daily communication should really be with the developers and the people who run the games. But we can say that we're definitely going to communicate, and we're going to have a direct communication, which I think many corporate companies have decided to steer off. And I, as a gamer, think that that's not right. I think it's good to understand the corporate view of the company and the investment side and so on, and what we really believe and think and what we're trying to achieve. I think that's you know, I think it's very important. I think that one really have to understand that at the end of the day, there's a team, they're working on their thing, and we're sitting there, it's very engaged every day and looking at all of the game companies, and that's also have to be taken account. All of the company's games is something that we care about, which means, of course, that we, you know, every day we're not just looking at one game and that one game's performance, but all of them, and then prioritizing on the things that we think we can help with and work on and improve. And if we're doing our job well, then you're going to see things improve going forward.
Alright guys, so in closing, he said here that, you know, communication is important to them, obviously, which is something that I cannot respect enough. I think one of our biggest issues that we've had with Daybreak over the years is the lack of communication. I don't want you guys to misinterpret what he said. He said that at a corporate level, at EG7's level, they'll be doing something similar to the video that you guys just watched, and directly reaching out to the community from that high up level. That would be like the equivalent of Activision making a video about Warzone and addressing the community's concerns. It's not something that usually happens. That's something that I can't overstate enough. It's not going to be only EG7 communicating twice a year. This is going to be on top of an overseen daily communication system that will be put in place by Daybreak and of course all of their other companies. EG7 is basically just an umbrella for a lot of different companies. They have petrol advertising, they have Sold Out, which is specialized in launching games. What I maybe would like to do at some point is give you guys kind of an overview of exactly what EG7 is and what they are capable of, because I think if you guys looked into what they've done, they've launched games like Call of Duty and they've done advertising campaigns for some of the hugest companies in the world. EG7 do have a lot of power, and obviously from listening to Robin you can see that they have a lot of passion for what they do, and I think they're capable of bringing H1Z1 to heights that before seemed impossible. I think our expectations have been rock bottom, obviously under years of bad guidance through Daybreak. I think we need to raise our expectations and understand that moving forward we are with EG7 and things are going to start getting done properly. Even though Daybreak is still going to be the studio, this is being managed by EG7 and they have high standards, and I believe that they can do great things with this game and all of Daybreak's games moving forward. As Robin said, they're going to be reaching out to community members, so I encourage everybody here to go on to Twitter and let them know like who you guys want them to sort of speak to in the community, not just myself. I think it's important that we have different opinions and conflicting opinions. I love talking to people that actually disagree with me. I think in this world it's pretty rare to have people who disagree with each other who still like each other. I personally love those types of conversations, and just because I disagree with you doesn't mean I don't like you, and I do enjoy those conversations. And even being devil's advocate and trying to understand what people believe, to me that's very important. And I think it's important to have almost like a fan forum or a community forum where people have different opinions and people can speak about these things freely and openly and take everything into consideration. So if you guys would like me to take part in something like that with EG7, I would absolutely be honored to do so. I'll leave a link to my Twitter in the description down below, and of course I'll leave a link to this original video if you guys would like to check that out as well. In the near future I will be producing some H1Z1 content, maybe around some information around EG7 and what you guys should know about them, and of course more specific details on what I think should happen with H1Z1, PlayStation 4, PC, and of course just Survive. If you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe, I would very much appreciate it. Drop a like on the video, and of course go check out EG7 on Twitter and their video in the description down below if you would like the kind of full broader context of everything that Robin said today. I'm going to be trying out a new game today called Grit, which is a new battle royale game, so if you guys would like to join me and of course take the conversation over there, by all means check out the description and come join me on Twitch. But that is it for now guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, man, and boys, just keep the faith. I think everything will be fine in the end. I think overall in the end we will get a good product and hopefully things moving forward will be a lot better. It is just going to take some time. Anyway guys, thank you for watching, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.